What's going on, guys? I know not everybody does body work and paint, and it's probably not something you're going to get into probably very often in your life, but I'm going to show you a little trick to filling holes in fiberglass. We have a Corvette here. I'll turn it around. This is a C3 Corvette. We're getting ready to paint it. What we have are these small holes in the back of the car where that rack would have originally been bolted down to. We want to actually eliminate that rack. So what we're going to do is fill it with some matting, and it's got something strong to hold on to. This here, and taper around that hole. I used a small air angle grinder with a very aggressive grinding disc on it. So you need a resin, you need a hardener, and you want some matting. I suggest the first thing you do after you prep your area is get your matting peeled off into sizes that you're going to use. First thing you're going to do is take your resin. It's probably plenty. Take your hardener and just mix that up real good. That should be plenty by now. Okay, so during this point I am simply taking the fiberglass matting and putting it down into the mixed hardener and resin, getting it saturated, forming it, and then sticking it over each hole. Then I'm taking my finger and pressing down to make sure to push the resin and matting down into the hole and into the taper, and make sure I push hard enough to get the resin pushed into the grooves where I have grinder marks. So that'll stick and stay. We'll come back out, grind them down, and then put some body filler in them, and then we'll prime them, and you will see them disappear. Alright guys, welcome back. Today we're going to take this grinder here, the same one we used to chamfer these holes out before we put the matting in them, and we're going to go around all these holes and knock them down to just below the surface level. That way we have plenty of room for polyester body filler and then some glazing putty, and after that we'll get them primed. Let's do it. Mainly, you do see around everything where there is excess matting. We'll just take a razor blade and scrape that off. It shouldn't stick because those areas weren't roughed up when we applied it. So we'll do that next. All right, and as you can see, we're taking the razor blade and going around each one of these spots and just scraping off the excess resin. It doesn't stick to the primed surface because it's really smooth, so we don't have to worry about that. It comes off really easy. Once we get that done, we'll go back and we'll put filler over it. Alright, now we're going to stir up the body filler and go ahead and disperse some out onto our mix board so that we can get some filler mixed up. Alright, now we're going to disperse a little bit of hardener across the puddle of our filler, usually about the length of the puddle, and then stir, stir, stir like crazy to make sure that we have the hardener dispersed and mixed in really well. It is a pretty warm day, so this will set up really quick. So let's get going. Okay, now we're gonna take the filler and we're gonna push it down into the hole to make sure that we push it hard into the scratches. That way it holds really firm and stays and doesn't want to come back out. We're gonna spread it around, put a thin layer, and fill it up over top of the hole, build up a little higher than the surface. That way we have plenty to work with and sand off. All right, next we're gonna take 80 grit on our DA sander, dual action, and we're going to sand these spots down. We're gonna mix this glazing putty up. It's the same thing, has to use a hardener. We'll use the same Stella hardener with it. It's real thin. That'll be plenty. Oops, sorry. Okay, now we're gonna mix up this glazing putty and do it quickly because we mixed it really hot and it's a warm day. We're gonna spread it around all of these holes real quick. Just trying to make sure we fill in all the pinholes. We push down hard and move on to the next step. All right, now we take that same sander we used earlier. Take some 220 instead. Okay, now this part here took quite some time, like 25 minutes to sand all of this. So I sped it up quite a bit so you guys wouldn't have to watch all that. That would be extremely boring, and I ranted and raved and went on for quite some time during this process. But anyway, this is 220 grit we're sanding the glazing putty with, and we wanted to make sure we knocked it down and got it smooth and make sure the entire area was cleaned up so we can get ready for primer. All right, we got everything masked up. We've got it wiped down with wax and grease remover and blown off real good. I'm gonna go mix up some primer real quick, and then we'll come back and put a little bit of primer on these spots. Here. Beautiful. Here. Here. By the way, our camera lady for the day, Mrs. Summer Hunt, or no, Miss. Yeah, you're not married, right?
No,
okay, yeah. Yeah, sorry. Miss Summer Hunt. Look at that. As it dries. I'd really like to show you guys the spots that we fixed, but, well, I don't know where they're at. I lost them. They've disappeared. I guess that's the goal. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. Oh, by the way, P.S. Next time you see the car, it'll be black. Bye-bye.